This video came up into my YouTube recommended. I have no idea. Somehow this ended up on my YouTube recommended because I only talk about this kind of line of questioning in a disparaging fashion, right? It was a video that was by a guy called Samuel Leeds, who is known as being a fucking like property investor, landlord, tycoon type, who is popular on like social media with a bunch of wannabe investors and wannabe fucking entrepreneurs, the kind of the worst people that you'll ever meet, right? And so he talks about huge amounts about property investment. He's like one of the like social media landlords are just like the lowest of a fucking low. And Samuel Leeds is like even lower than that. I think he tried scamming people at one point. But anyway, he's just released a video with 234,000 views called "The World Economic Forum: The Most Evil Business in the World." Right? Like, I've done a lot on the World Economic Forum, and people are probably sick of me talking about it, but it's endless amount of content because watching people get mad about it who are purport to be in favor of capitalism themselves, then suddenly getting incredibly angry at the obvious externalities of capitalism never ever ever gets old. So we're going to do another segment. I'm going to react to the video. I'm going to tag this expletive on Twitter, and hopefully I'll manage to get some beef with him. I don't know. Either way, we're going to watch the video and we're going to see how it's nonsense that basically them just literally they're just getting angry at their own externalities. So the thing that they purport to support. Anyway, let's go.
The World Economic Forum are a huge global network of elitists, the super rich, and they have a world agenda which they themselves announced and said that their goal is that we all own nothing and be happy about.
The funny thing is that isn't actually like any kind of specific policy platform of the World Economic Forum. Obviously they are bad, and in general loads of people are deliberately trying to, like, the idea of rentier capitalism that we have at the moment is it's going to continue going on, right? Being able to rinse huge amounts of money from something like some immediate like down payment on an investment that you can then keep the asset and gain renter income forever. The amusing thing is, right, this guy's a fucking landlord. He's literally a landlord getting angry at other people for wanting to gain rentier income, right? And move towards even more rentier capitalism. The barefaced cheek of saying you'll own nothing and be happy. 16 seconds into the video for a guy who literally exists to make sure that the future generations don't own fucking houses. And apparently and instead of being happy, just being fucking miserable. But he'll be happy because his property portfolio keeps increasing in value ad infinitum, right?
About it. In this video, I'm going to be talking about that. This is something that many people have talked about and are unsure about, but the reason I'm talking about this today is because I recently attempted to become a member of the World Economic Forum. It cost £500,000 a year to join the network, and guess what? I got £500,000. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, I got £500,000.
Look, I love this, the evil super rich. Anyway, I just got my £500,000 that I had lying around, right? I just had that much money just lying around. I thought, yeah, maybe I'll join the World Economic Forum. Mate, you are the elite, right? You are the fucking super rich. You are the scumbags, and you are the evil people, just like the World Economic Forum. You two are one and the same, right? I will get it. I'll leave it like in the video.
£1,000,000, I want to be a member of your network. And they would not have me as a member.
Denied.
Which made me think, why not? So not only do you have to be really stinking rich, I've never felt so poor. When I applied to be a member of the World Economic Forum, which literally have got people, they're all associated with all the politicians and Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, all these folks are all in this network.
How are any of these people different to you, Samuel? You're literally just like a fucking hustle, grind set, social media entrepreneur type property investor bellend. Like, you exist literally just to make money off assets and contribute fucking nothing to the world, right? How are you in any way better than any of these people, right? Apart from like on the basic, on some kind of like consequentialist basis of being the fact that you don't do as much harm because you're not quite as rich, right?
Network, and I'm like, well, I'm rich now, I want to join, I want to help save the planet, I want to make the world a better place, which is what you guys all want. That's what their whole thing is about. Let me join. And they gave me a little checklist, and they said, what is your net worth? Is it between 1 million and 1 billion? Is it between 1 billion and 10 billion? Is it between 10 billion and 100 billion? I was like, damn, I'm right at the bottom of the food chain, but listen, I can still afford your £500,000 a year membership, and I am a multi-millionaire. My net worth's 20 million at least, so come on, let me in.
Literally, this guy is so fucking, is just completely living in another reality where it's just like, Well, these guys are incredibly rich, way richer than I am, right? They're like factors of 10 richer than I am, which makes me, I mean, because I'm comparatively less well off, it doesn't matter that I'm a fucking multi-millionaire, right? Go attack the other people rather than me when you're all just different shades of the same shit, different shades of the same shit, right?
And they didn't even respond. And I've been trying to become a member and they haven't responded. So I did some investigation into who they are and what their agenda is, and the results were shocking. And I think it's almost verging.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's interesting that they overlap with the COVID denier type people, right? Again, he will say they'll always say they're fucking self-made. They're made off the backs of all the people who you've siphoned huge amounts of money off in rent. But regardless, right? The people who are angry at the World Economic Forum, the people who get angry at the World Economic Forum specifically, exactly Russell Brand as well. I've done a video on him with specifically with regard to this. The people who get angry at the World Economic Forum specifically are the 5%ers, right? It's the same people who get involved in Bitcoin and crypto. The same people who think that somehow they believe in capitalism, they believe that capitalism is correct and good, but they somehow believe that somehow there's been some level of excess that has been reached in capitalism, which means that the ability for the everyman to fucking make it and succeed in the entrepreneurial world is somehow getting stifled by the over conglomeration of different resources into smaller and smaller hands as things globalize and things get as different sectors of the economy all get swallowed up by the same fucking corporate behemoths, right? So they feel like they've been cheated out of their fucking life on passive income, their chance to be the boot, right? They feel like they've been cheated out of their desire to want to be the person wearing the boots stepping on the working class, right? Yet they think that the reason why they get frustrated is because they believe that the conglomeration of power amongst corporate America and corporate, I guess, other nations around the world, mostly corporate America, is that somehow there's been some political project by some kind of unscrupulous actor to rig things against them, rather than it being a specific externality of the system itself. Because we all know, right? As companies and corporations get bigger, they envelop more parts of the economy because economies of scale means that they can always outpace their competitors who are smaller than they are. So markets always tend towards monopoly. That's just something that we can show from however many, centuries of capitalism at this point, right? So that's and because there's all this centralized power, they also get control over the economic narratives and over the political narratives. So it's always the people who are in line with them who end up getting into political power to be able to enact policy platforms that are also within their interests. And this all happens under capitalism, right? Like this idea that capitalism somehow acts without the state is nonsense. The capitalism and the state are intrinsically linked and always have been, right? And that's the belief, right? There's this belief amongst these 5%ers who believe wholeheartedly in capitalism that the state shouldn't exist and that capitalism is something where the state always intervenes against them. So they seem to claim that because there's this conglomeration of power, it must be communism, right? Some kind of nefarious communism that's trying to plan the economy from scratch, rather than it being just a bunch of people with huge amounts of money being able to use that money to be able to get better returns on their investment through monopolization of the economy, right? It's only state intervention through antitrust, anti-monopoly laws that allow the continued amount of competition that would you make it so that these big giants would get broken up and the fabled myth of this perfect capitalist society could still exist in the way that they wanted to. Exactly, absolutely right, deletion quarter. The thing is that, as I've said before as well, is that these people do believe in other people owning nothing. They just think that the people who should be owning nothing and paying them in rental income are the people below them, right? They're just getting sad that they are now at the same level as the people that they feel that they're above. It's this real fucking superiority complex being knocked down a peg through the externalities of the systems that they purport to support that has made them upset at the fact that it is conglomerated into this kind of the neoliberal dystopia that we live in right now.
On evil. So I'm going to talk about my factual findings and then let you decide.
Yeah, when people kept going, like the other thing with Hillary Clinton is a complete side note. They kept going about fucking Benghazi, right, in her emails. I'm like, no, you don't need to believe in weird conspiracy theories. She helped commit war crimes in Libya. You don't need to have any fucking conspiracy theories. She just is a war criminal. That's a thing that she did.
When the World Economic Forum said that their agenda is that we will own nothing and we will be happy, the only optimistic way to look at this is that everything will become subscription based and we will not need to own things, and that is why we will be happy about it.
You are a landlord. Fuck off. Jesus Christ.
For example, I don't own any DVDs anymore. I don't own CDs. I don't own things like that because it's now not essential, because the world has moved on with its agenda. Now we have subscriptions such as Netflix, such as Spotify. There also definitely seems to be an agenda that instead of owning houses...
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's, you're absolutely right, deletion quarter. They just seems like the market has indeed, it has decided that the way in which that these companies are allowed, can make the most amount of returns on their investment is by keeping hold of the assets forever, right? That's literally how they make the most amount of money that they can do, is by continually accruing more assets and creating rentier income off of that. That's nothing to do with some sinister plot. That is just capitalism working as intended. As said, the silent hand of the market has indeed spoken.
That we now rent. Again, our whole life is rented and leased on a subscription basis. Our cars, we're being incentivized to use public transport and to go electric and to lease cars. So
yes, we should use public transport. Public transport is good, right? It's even better when it's owned by the state. So even then, the money that we then spend on it goes back into running the services that keep the country going that we use every day, right? Ooh, scary public transport. And even then, electric cars aren't... How has an electric car subscription-based, but a diesel car or a petrol car not subscription? Doesn't make any fucking sense, right? What? I guess in the World Economic Forum's view, like somehow being able to, they're being explicitly kind of private ownership of the public transport sector, or this Samuel Leeds guy has this kind of conservative view that somehow cars represent freedom, even though they're incredibly, economically prohibitive to be able to even own or run one due to all of the taxation and all of the MOTs and all of the money you have to spend on petrol and all of the upkeep you have to do on the vehicle itself, right? You have to sacrifice so much of your own freedom to be able to pay the ludicrous and extortionate amounts that it owns to be able to run a car in this economy. Yet in the US, it's even worse, right? We're definitely far more free than the US in this regard, where you literally cannot function if you do not own a car, right? Again, this is all fucking negative versus positive freedom shit that I've gone on about 1,000 times now.
So the world is moving away from owning what you have and leasing and renting what you have. Now, while that may not sound like a bad thing, and it's okay to lease everything, it's the way of the world, the scary part...
He's actually admitting in his own video why his own viewpoint is stupid, when he's saying, well, it's not bad if this happens, I do it, that's just the way of the world. Yes, exactly, it's the way of the world that you want it to be, because you're a fucking capitalist. Like, that's it.
Part of that is that if everything is leased by these big tech companies, what happens if they don't like us? What happens if we step out of line and they decide to cancel us on a individual level, like they did with the Russians, where they just said, no more Netflix. They don't have DVDs. If they cut off...
What? This is some real fucking conspiracy brain shit. Like, I disagree with Netflix suspending their actions in Russia, right? But did they just do it because they wanted to cancel Russia? Or were they doing it to, I guess, somehow show solidarity with Ukraine, even though that's obviously a bullshit thing, because they didn't hurt anybody at the top of the hierarchy in Russia. They just hurt regular Russians. That was a nonsense fucking thing to do. But the idea that they just banned Andrew Tate because, they just... because reasons, rather than because there were going to be dangerous externalities and him continually be able to spread his worldview, right? Like, and even then, did Andrew Tate get cancelled because of some kind of moral fortitude of Twitter.com and TikTok and all that shit? No, they can't. They banned him from their platforms because he's bad for their bottom line at the end of the day, which again is the ideology that this guy follows, that whatever is the bottom line is good enough, because that's how capitalism functions. Yeah, the multimillionaire fucking sex trafficker, like...
off the supply of what you're leasing, what it does is it gives them complete control and complete power. And most of these people in these groups are billionaires or multi-billionaires. And it almost seems to me like when money is no object anymore,
Money will still be an object, even this fucking subscription-based model. It'd be like, I can't believe people with huge amounts of money and wealth and power trying to do things to maintain and make more of that money and wealth and power based upon the system which relies entirely on people making sure that they only care about money, wealth, and power. Fucking, who could have predicted it, right?
Anymore. The next high is world power and control and domination. That's a scary thought. Interesting that Prince Charles
So you're saying that capital controls the world? What a fucking revelation, mate. You're only 200 years late.
is a member. The Chinese president is a member. The bank
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He literally is just jealous that he isn't getting a slice of the pie. You're absolutely right. It's just the 5% fucking absolutely seething at the 1% because they took away the theoretical boot that they feel they should be entitled to, right? Rather than the rising tide lift all ships that you get from actual fucking progressive platforms and socialism, right? All they believe in is just, I wanted my slice of the pie is getting gobbled up by someone who eats an even bigger slice of the pie. Whereas the people like down here, we've got no fucking pie, and we literally, as far as I'm concerned, there is just no difference between the Samuel Leeds person, right, as a multi-millionaire property investor, and fucking these people who are at the top of these mega corporations. They're just two heads of the same hydra.
are a member. There's massive
Microtransactions. You're absolutely right. Like Philosophy Tube has a good video about talking about rentier economies, using video games as the kind of the framing of that issue. She explains it really well.
world banks that are members of the World Economic Forum, and they're telling us to stop buying houses, to not own things. They're decentralizing the ability to even own a
You do the same thing. You're literally a property investor, you wanker. Oh god, he's just completely fucking so much cognitive dissonance. It's unreal. Yeah, exactly. And they call the leftoids, right, who are people who really envy us. Well, actually, what all we want is an equitable society where people's needs are met, and we don't have to rely on backbreaking labor of the exploited proletariat to continue to keep fucking people like this bell end and Rolexes.
property. Yeah, what are they doing? What are the banks doing? Well, we know that Lloyd's Bank right now in the UK, BlackRock, what are they all doing? They're buying houses en masse and then they are renting them out to us. So when they say own nothing and be happy, really what I think they're saying is you will own nothing and be happy, and we will own everything and be even happier.
You are a landlord. I cannot fucking believe that he is saying this whilst being a landlord. Fucking Chairman Mao, we need you more than ever.
They're calling this the Great Reset, and people are celebrating the Great Reset because they're broke, because they don't own things, and they're saying, yeah, let's just let the
I mean, the Great Reset wasn't the actual idea of the Great Reset as far as Klaus Schwab was concerned. It's what Johnny Harris was talking about in that video response that Tom Nicholas did, where essentially the Great Reset, as it's purported to be by the World Economic Forum, is changing shareholder capitalism, where everything has to be done with the bottom line involved for the bottom line in mind for the shareholders, to stakeholder capitalism, where you treat everybody like a shareholder who is involved in the whole business process as well as the environment, right? It's just another fucking brand marketing program to stop people sharpening their guillotines, right? That's all it is. That's all really that it's ever been, the whole Great Reset idea, right? In the wake of the global pandemic, we've seen the excesses of capitalism, so let's pretend that it's not the fault of capitalism. That's all it really is, right? Like, because the billionaires they know this continual concentration of wealth, as it's going to continue, will only lead in one direction, and that is people sharpening their pitchforks and lighting their torches, right? They know that's the case, and so they're trying to use any kind of way in which they can to try and prevent that happening, right? That's why these people are that's why people from the World Economic Forum are fans of actually kind of, neoliberal establishment governments that aren't explicitly kind of right wing and the more kind of evil sense, I guess. So they're not big fans of people like the Republican Party or the Conservative Party of Canada, for example. Like, there's reason why they explicitly support people like Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau, because they're nice enough not to be able to instill some kind of revolution, but they're still working the whims of big corporations.
government and the rich just reset everything, and the Great Reset sounds like a good idea.
Are they Lloyd's Bank? They are. I think they were building their own cities, right? As far as I'm concerned, so they were at least increasing housing supply, but making it so that basically every single house in the area was owned by Lloyd's. Like, I'm not a fan of it, right? But it's definitely not as bad as BlackRock, who are explicitly trying to be able to buy up all the existing houses by offering existing mortgage holders like way above asking price to try and create a monopoly on the existence of the existing market, right? So obviously what Lloyd's Bank is doing is not great, but it's not as bad as BlackRock, or as bad as what Samuel Leeds is trying to say. I mean, banks own most of the housing, yeah.
I'm sorry, but to me the Great Reset sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, God. He is just jealous. He is just jealous that he doesn't have access to that all the renter income that theoretically could come from those houses as well.
In this video, I'm going to share exact reset, and people are celebrating the Great Reset because they're broke, because they don't own things, and they're saying, yeah, let's just let the government and the rich just reset everything, and the
the government and the rich. He's trying to he's doing secretly the capitalist or communist thing that you mentioned earlier.
Reset sounds like a good idea. I'm sorry, but to me the Great Reset sounds like a horrible idea. In fact, anything that's ever started with the great in history has always ended in destruction. The Great Depression, the Great Leap Forward, the Great Recession, the Great War. Whenever anything starts with the Great and has
the Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, maybe. How is it being reset? Nobody owns the house. Well, exactly, right? Like, again, he don't think he really understands what the World Economic Forum mean by the Great Reset. Like, he literally, all of this is extrapolated out of that one random comment made by one member saying you'll own nothing and be happy, right? Like, that's literally, he's extrapolating all of this from that one statement, rather than actually reading, like, the Klaus Schwab statements that he put out and the work that he's done with people like Johnny Harris.
A world agenda behind it, it has always ended in destruction and devastation for the general public. But what about all the celebrities, though, that are endorsing it? What about all the big A-list celebrities that are standing behind the movement and saying, yes, this is wonderful, this is going to help the world? Well, you know what? Whenever the celebrities are all endorsing anything at the same time, you know what I generally do? Run.
And the way that we are evolved to
Then to Russell, he's doing a Russell Brand clip. I fucking love this shit. Oh god, this guy is just like, he has the smoothest brain, right? A brain smoother than a parquet floor.
live becomes more and more distant and remote. We don't live as tribes. We're not in control of our own resources. The idea that we will own...
No, I mean, he probably is subscribed to the coaching, but I think he's probably even more wishy-washy than that. Like, Russell Brand is really his fucking wheelhouse.
Nothing and we will be happy. Sounds like a terrifying, not Orwellian, but sort of Huxleyan idea that we will be somered into compliance, drugged by a sort of a magical substance in our water, into dumb compliance with the objective
Citation needed.
of the powerful while we live as kind of human drones.
The World Economic Forum currently has 3,000 paying members. And with membership costing around £500,000, the question is, where does that money go? And nobody knows where that money goes. And the truth is, it's probably to fund the government and the media. Have you ever noticed how the media and the government all seem to sing off the same song sheet and agree at the same time with the same things? And usually...
Yes, capitalism. They all agree with capitalism. They all agree with the replication of capital for the needs of the bourgeois. That's the thing that they agree with, right? Oh god, the people... Basic material analysis. You would just... I'm just going to get angry if I keep saying things.
The agenda is to bash the rich and tell you, don't try and build a business, don't worry, we'll look after you. The agenda is to weaken men and break down families. And if you step out of line...
Oh fuck, he's a fucking chud. He's not even like a wishy-washy new age type property landlord guy. He's literally a fucking manosphere rube. Like, all of these, I mean, we almost certainly is subscribed to the quartering. No doubt is he subscribed to the quartering, given it's like, well, clearly what the World Economic Forum doing, they're putting fluoride in the water to try and turn the frogs gay. That's what it is. He's literally doing the frogs gay meme. He's full on Alex Jones. Even looks a bit like him.
say something they don't like, they will literally deplatform you. You can just suddenly overnight be vanished off of Instagram, off of
Welcome to capitalism.
YouTube, off of everywhere, and not have a voice anymore. No debate, no discussion, just cancelled, gone. Interesting. And I'm having to be extremely careful about what I say on this video. This video risks being deplatformed. Maybe I'll end up suddenly off of YouTube.
No, there is literally no chance. There is 0% chance this video gets removed. It's got 234,000 views already in a week, in 3 days, right? The idea that this video is going to get removed by a company that profits on the video being up there already through ad revenue, right? Like, there's just no way they take it down because it's part of the whole fucking pipeline shit. Like, if they were going to take down shit like this, they would have stepped in Gamergate 2016 already.
YouTube as well, but I just couldn't bring myself to not speak.
What will people think about the poor sex traffickers in Romania? They're so hard done by. Oh no, I'm so sad for the sex traffickers.
At least based off of the research that I've done, and share my opinions on this matter. They train world leaders via their Young Global Leader program. Even Putin was trained by them. The World Economic Forum recently said that capitalism needs a dose of Marxism.
It doesn't need it just needs a replacement with communism. That's what it really needs. But I'm actually, hang with it. Let me find this article. Let me see what this article even says. Does capitalism need some Marxism? World Economic Forum. Let's have a look. Let's fucking have a look, right? Oh, wow. I mean, this was being written by somebody who was then about to go and visit China to go and see Xi Jinping, so I'm not sure. Yeah, Marxism is when... Yeah, Marxism is when the government does literally any amount of stuff. World Economic Forum, Dengistark, let's go. I mean, that's literally just socialism with Schwab characteristics. I mean, what they're actually doing here is they're talking about, I think what this actual article here is talking about is the tendency of rate of profit to fall through things like labor-saving devices, like things like, what's to say, decimate global employment levels through productivity advances and inspired by breakthroughs in robotics, right? This is literally just TPRF. Mass production revolution. He's literally, yeah, it's just TPRF. Like, this article is just correct. Yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely right, yeah. Like, if ever there was a need for Marx's critique of capitalism, it's right now. I mean, they're almost certainly, like, trying to use, like the spectre of Marxism to try and get young people on board. And they're saying, well, TPRF means we need to reform capitalism rather than capitalism needs to go, right? Whereas, fundamentally, you and I as Marxists both believe that TPRF is one of the reasons why capitalism will fail. We don't believe that, that this is why we should replace it is because of TPRF. We just understand that TPRF means that it cannot continue and will collapse eventually. Capitalists issuing government and worker debt, kicking the contradiction down the road, Incomes could be increased via more of us owning shares in the companies we work for. True. Or just owning all of them. Don't think you'd go that far, though. Like, turn them all into cooperatives. I'm not sure you're going to go full on Tito. Yeah, exactly. Then, I mean, to be fair, like, most good leftists have been saying this for years, right? This kind of push towards neoliberal economic policy as will accelerate, like, the end of capitalism, right? By magnifying its internal contradictions forever. And that's just a thing that will happen over time. And the only smart billionaires are going to be people like Warren Buffett, people like the World Economic Forum, who will actually try to make sure that these these changes towards neoliberalism get arrested in some manner to stop capitalism from collapsing in on itself and try and preserve it for as long as possible, right? It's the stupid billionaires, like people like from the Koch brothers, who try and explicitly try and fund even further deregulation, further detaxation, all that kind of stuff, because they will eventually get redacted in Minecraft by the Glorious Revolution if it continues down this road. Like the secret accelerationists, right? This is an anti-accelerationist argument from the World Economic Forum, which is exactly the same that you get from Warren Buffett. Or proliferation of cooperatives. Bloody hell. And then UBI. But UBI isn't Marxism, and technically cooperatives are not really Marxism. Like I love me some Tito, right? I love me some Yugoslavia, right? But you know, the whole point of socialism is the abolishment of the commodity form, right? The workers controlling their own means of production through a cooperative market economy would be better than what we have right now. But is it the abolishment of the commodity form? No. So like, it's not really Marxism, right? Just something about MMT to be able to do a UBI, I guess. Taken as a whole, the options outlined above are tantamount to systemic change to keep pace with the human fallout that Schwab warns could come our way. This is something that Asian politicians attending the meeting in Tianjin should perhaps be mindful of, given the region's preeminence as a manufacturing base. I mean, if you ever want to have a look at how capitalism can perform well, you just have to look at Dengism, look at managed capitalism being a driver of economic growth, right? Whereas you've seen like unchained capitalism, like in the neoliberal countries, have stagnant growth. So you can even see that if you want to preserve capitalism, you've got to inject some Dengism in there eventually. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Godot. If someone said abolish the commodity form to member of the World Economic Forum, they would spontaneously combust. In contrast, the economies of Western Europe and North America have been deindustrializing for decades. For them, outsourcing production to and purchasing goods from lower-wage economies is the established hallmark of modern capitalism and imperialism. Does the Chinese government really want to see hundreds of millions of its factories workers used up by AI-enabled production line robots? Not that it matters. Logic dictates that such robots will inevitably be eating each other through order books elsewhere. Hence, the cross-pollination of ideas between capitalism and Marxism is worthy of serious discourse. A future characterized by mass unemployment, gross inequality, and unrest demands it. I mean, they are not wrong. They're not wrong in that, there needs to be, like, if capitalism wants to survive further, it needs to reform itself, because it will only... The embedded contradictions within capitalism will only eat itself away quicker if it is unchained in the way that it is currently. Yeah, Seamus Milne was hot on the Chinese model. Yeah, I'm not even that big of a fan of like Dengism or whatever. I way prefer Titoism, which saw continuous increasing living standards in Yugoslavia. But it's better than what we have here. At least it's an economic model. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Needs a dose of Marxism. No, capitalism does not need a dose of Marxism. Marxism has devastated everything it's ever touched. Just look back.
Yeah, apart from the People's Republic of Kampuchea, or the Socialist Republic of Yugoslavia, or the Shinmin Autonomous Region, or Rojava, or CNTFIA, or the Paris Commune, or Grenada, or even dare I say, Cuba, China, and the USSR, right? Like, there are problems with the latter half of Vietnam as well. Let's not forget fucking Vietnam too, right? And the Chinese economy growing in the way that it has done because of Dengism, right? Like, again, as we were just saying about that, like the World Economic Forum are just correct in this one article by the one contributor that's been done there. Yeah, exactly. It's weird how they despise China, but they despise China because they're xenophobic, they're anti-leftist, and because they want to be able to control geopolitical hegemony, and China threatens that. There was an Economist headline the other day saying that something like 50% of scientists in the USSR were female due to policies, and this was a problem. Yeah, like they said that they forced women to go into STEM, when actually they just were more able to do so because more of things to do with the family unit were being provided by some level of state intervention. Yeah, it's incredibly rare. World Economic Forum W. Yeah, 100% CO'd.
Back at history. Wake up. And the irony is so shocking. The fact that the royal family are members of the World Economic Forum, and then the World Economic Forum are telling us to own nothing when they literally own so much. Can we not see the irony? So what are the world...
Literally, I wish I owned that, but I'm mad that somebody else does. That's literally this guy's only fucking point of view. Oh, what's your controversial on Russia and Afghanistan? Like, I think that everyone's to blame. I was reading the other day and I found out that, in fact, Najibullah wanted to broker peace after the Soviet Union pulled out, and Pakistan explicitly said that they would refuse a peace deal. So the reason why Afghanistan is in the state that it's in today, as far as it's gone, is because the Taliban were allowed to take over because Pakistan were desperate to be able to remove Najibullah, to allow the Taliban to take power.
Economic Forum actually doing apart from trying to get us used to the idea of owning nothing? What are they doing?
Whilst undoubtedly wrong, Afghanistan be in so much better of a position now. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The PDPA, despite, you know, whatever things that they did, rights for women increased, standards of education increased, standards of living increased based upon the Dawood era, right? And the era, the kind of monarchist era pre that as well. Like, life in the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan was demonstrably better than it was in the Republic of Afghanistan. And secular rule, you're absolutely right. Yeah, like the PDPA aren't good, and there were leftists who are like other leftists who oppose the PDPA, like communist groups oppose the PDPA in Afghanistan as well. Like the bad, I think, you know, the issue really is that the Soviet Union just committed so many war crimes in Afghanistan. It's just completely unreal. Like, do I believe that Afghanistan would be in a better position if the PDPA was still in power today? Probably, yeah, right? But you're comparing different you're comparing like bad to shit at the moment, so it's all speculation, right? I mean, I think if Hafizullah hadn't been ousted by the Soviet Union, I think they would have been absolutely fine. But obviously, Jimmy Carter was already funding the Mujahideen before Hafizullah was ousted by the Soviet Union and Babrak Karmal.
Doing with their billions of pounds that they are raising through the World Economic Forum, where there's no trace of where the membership money actually goes? Well, it would appear to me that what they're doing is they are controlling the media so that people don't think for themselves anymore. You will vote how they want.
Yes, that's true. The media have never lied to anyone ever. They've never had a previous agenda of protecting capital. That's only just happened now, and hasn't been the case over the entirety of the existence of capitalism. You know, since the days of the fucking the Brass Neck, I think it was. Was that the book that was released? From the muckrakers in the fucking 1920s, right? Surely it's never been the case that the political media class have been this allied force at protecting capitalism literally since its inception.
Want you to vote. They are trying to gain complete control of everything and everybody, and stripping financial literacy from people, keeping them dumb so they are slaves and workers. What should they be doing?
That's capitalism. That's the system that you support. You just said you hate Marxism, and the only people who've ever made sure that there's been in some level of increase and level of standards of education to be able to get people out, to be able to try and give people the skills to be able to meaningfully critique the world around them. It's only ever been people on the fucking left, right?
Well, in my opinion, I'm all for the idea of a World Economic Forum. I'm all for an idea of wealthy people getting together, how to make the world a better place and change the planet. But what they should be doing is they should be bringing financial literacy into schools. They should be championing and incentivizing businesses giving to charity. They should.
Yeah, literally. Well, they should incentivize businesses doing the thing that they cannot do under capitalism unless they get something back, because it affects their bottom line. Charity is bad for capitalists because they need a permanent underclass available to be able to sell people essentially the dream that they cannot be in that position, or threaten people with being demoted there if they don't follow in line with the whims of capital in the first place, right? This is the ideology that you believe in, Samuel.
Stop taxing the hell out of small, struggling businesses. Relying on the government for you
When were the World Economic Forum taxing small business? What? You've not demonstrated any. Literally, all of this is being extrapolated out of that fucking one quote at the start. This is a crazy video. This man is just like apocalyptically stupid.
Should be looked after always ends in poverty and devastation. We need to be relying on ourselves and being entrepreneurially minded and building businesses. And even though they're trying to discourage us buying properties with tax incentives to not, with legislation, with tenant eviction bans, scrapping Section 21.
I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm. It's like I hate this idea of you'll own nothing and be happy, but also they're taking away my ability to make other people own nothing and be miserable. Samuel Lees, I'm gonna tag you. If you're watching this, you better fucking debate me, or you're a piece of shit coward. Like, you should I'm gonna go full fucking debate girl on this one. You debate me or you're a fucking coward. Come on, I know you got fucking 300 times as many subscribers as I have, but you're just so traumatically stupid that, if you can't defend your ideas and, like, in the marketplace of ideas, then you're fucking cuckboy bitch, right?
You know what I think? I think that now is the time to step forward and start owning as much land as we freaking possibly can right now while we have the opportunity to buy land, because it's very difficult for them to take it off us. That's why they're trying to
Literally, I want to be able to control as much. I want to be able to wear the boots, and they're taking the boots away from me. That's literally his entire position, right? I want to be the landlord. I want to own the land. I want there to be no such thing as, I don't know, the commons, which we had before they got enclosed by capitalism, right? But now they're being enclosed by the wrong people. Now it's become bad. Oh, has it, Samuel? I wonder if it has now, or has always been fucking ever.
Discourage us from doing it in the first instance. So my advice is to buy as much land and property as you possibly can, and to build wealth in such a way that it's sustainable.
Literally, just they're taking away my boot.
And adaptable right now in 2022. And I don't want to bring a message of negativity and doom to you right now through you.
This guy is literally so stupid, I had to defend the World Economic Forum in a video where I'm saying why he's wrong about the way he's criticizing them. I cannot believe he made me defend the World Economic Forum by reading one of their articles.
So the question is, what should you do as an independent person, as an entrepreneur?
I'm getting explicitly more Maoist for every second of this video that goes
the
past.
ways that you can react to and deal with this world plan to stop this happening, because that is exactly what we will do. Well, firstly, I would say stop blindly following celebrities' opinions, because they are often paid by these people to share their opinions. Have critical thinking from the media and do not be blinded as a sheep. Do not be...
Okay, if you're watching me watch this, right, this video, absolutely you should get critical thinking skills. This guy is trying to pull the wool over your eyes because he wants to be able to increase his property portfolio and increase his gains and his bottom line. And the way he does that is by attacking the people who are taking away his ability to be able to increase his bottom line, right? That's it. It's just a financial gain for him. They taking away his ability to be able to crush you if you're a working person, right? And he wants to be able to do that to you because he's a member of the bourgeois. He's part of the same class, right? Like, I'm glad that there's now at least now the bourgeois are fighting amongst themselves. I think that's been due for quite a while, right? Like, and this guy is just trying to make you think that there's been some kind of oncoming global communism, which would be based but isn't happening, right? To try and make you think that he is somehow, I'm just a poor little done by small bean businessman with multi-billions, with 22 million pounds worth of net worth. Please feel sorry for me. Now go fuck yourself, Samuel.
Sold the lies of the government about looking after you financially. It is a trap. Become financially independent and share the message far and wide for all to see. Now,
Pete, not everybody can become financially independent. That is literally impossible under capitalism. There needs to be two disparate classes for capitalism to function, right? That is how capitalism works. All you're asking people to do is make sure that other people have less of the pie, right? That's what you're encouraging them to do, which is literally exactly what the World Economic Forum do. You and them are one and the same, Samuel.
Saying that says, if you can change it, and if you can't, shut up. And that's why I've resisted putting out a video like this for so long. So I just want to share 3 things that I am doing to actively help with the situation and the economy. Firstly is I am bringing financial education to people so that they do not have to rely on jobs.
You're just making sure that other people who do have free jobs pay their bills for them, and they get rich off of the struggle of the proletariat, right? Fuck off, mate. You're all going to be the first one against the wall, theoretically, in Minecraft.
I'm bringing financial literacy to schools by giving my time voluntary to go out and to speak in schools and to teach kids how to be financially literate. To teach
This is just propaganda. This is just capitalist trying to turn kids into capitalists.
kids how to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt, assets and liabilities, passive income and active income. I'm building schools across
There
all
is no such thing as passive income, Samuel. All it is the stolen wages of the proletariat.
parts of the world. We just built a school in Uganda, and the government have agreed that because we paid for the building, that we can have a say in the school curriculum so that the kids can be financially literate.
That is terrifying. That is literally terrifying. Saying that you can literally have private entities pay for things so that they can indoctrinate the children into capitalist orthodoxy. That is literally what has been happening. He's trying to market this. He's trying to market this as somehow being some kind of fucking new, aspirational, altruistic thing that he's done, when he is literally indoctrinating children into like the death cult of capitalism. Yeah, absolutely. There's people like this that ruined Uganda to begin with, 100%. Like all the Western governments who backed Idi Amin.
And I am speaking truth.
Am I thinking of the wrong Idi Amin Uganda? I probably shouldn't put this on YouTube, but I'm this unknowing of world events. Well, I digress.
In spite of fear. So this video may well get banned. So share the heck out of it, get educated, and get buying land and properties now so that later on...
No, buy one property. You do not need more than one. You do not need more than one property.
You are not relying on these psychopath elites to pay your...
You are the psychopath elite, you fucking idiot! Oh, dear Lord, I'm gonna have I want to debate this guy so bad. Just, honestly, just get fucked. Today for literature class, we're reading Atlas Shrugged, followed by, we're gonna play Bioshock, but we're gonna believe the main character. So sorry, the main antagonist is the protagonist, right? What the fuck's his name? I literally did a Rishi Sunak meme where he was the guy from The Rapture. Whatever, I digress. I fucking ruined this segment, but anyway, I'm gonna upload it regardless. And if you enjoyed watching this video, you can follow me on Twitter at these links here and on all of these different social medias. You can give the video a like and a subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you get notified when I release new content. And also what you can do is you can become a member on YouTube for just 99p and get access to my emotes too. Andrew Ryan, that's the one. 100%. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one, future YouTube viewers.